There are just those people who don't know enough to see the opportunities in the work they're in. If there seems to be no future or opportunity in it, it isn't always because it's not there, but perhaps only because we can't see it.
Let's go. It is Monday Mindset, the first ever Monday Mindset show. Last week was a soft launch with Joe, my main man, but I'm super thankful to have this opportunity to come to you guys on Monday to get you hyped up for the week. Have to give a shout out to Tony for that awesome intro video. I might be saying that for a couple weeks. I feel like I need that video just played every day for me. It is Monday. We got Quentin already joining on. He's saying good morning. Chat in your comments. Make sure that you're getting in your comments. I think you have to allow StreamYard access or something like that. But I would love to see your comments to let me know you're here. And I want to talk to you today about getting your mind right. And because this is the first show, and I'm going to be doing a lot of these shows, I really thought it would be good to talk about what I believe actually controls your mindset. So for those who don't know me, I'm Luke Acree. I run a company. It's a marketing company. I've had the privilege over the last decade to work with about 100,000 entrepreneurs. And I have a team of about 300 people. We're now virtually all over the nation. So I was in Philadelphia. That's where I'm at today. But they're all over the nation now. And part of my team is about 160 salespeople. And mindset is the most critical thing in sales, because even though we can refine our processes and our scripts and the amount of dials we make and the marketing we do, I never have been able to overcome human psychology. If the psychology of my salesman is not right, if the psychology of the person that I'm working with is not right, that trumps all process. So remember that if you don't get your mindset right, it doesn't matter what processes you put in place, you're not going to be able to execute. Because, my dad was a pastor, right? He still is a pastor. So I grew up a pastor's kid. And one of the things he taught me growing up was something from scriptures that says, you speak from what's in your heart, right? You act from what's in your heart. And really what I want to share with you today of what I teach my team about mindset is I think mindset stems from three things. And you've probably heard this before. You are three pillars. You are a body, you are a mind, and you are a spirit. You're those three things. And I promise you today, if you're feeling unmotivated, you don't want to attack the week, if you're feeling a little down and out, or something's not going right in your life, look to those three things and ask yourself, how am I investing in my body? How am I investing in my mind? How am I investing in my spirit? I want to ask you some simple questions today. When you think about the body, right, for instance, right? Did you get up today and go to the gym already, or do you have that on your calendar? Have you done that? Do you know? All the research shows, just go Google this. All the research shows you have to be exercising. It's one of the most important things you can do for your overall well-being, but yet so many of us don't do this. And a lot of people in life, when I ask them if they're a salesman and stuff, they say, I'm not a salesman, but I say, I disagree. Everybody's a salesman. Just tell yourself to get up at 4 a.m. tomorrow and go to the gym. And when that alarm clock goes off, I guarantee you that salesman's going to come out in you. You're going to be very, very convincing that you're going to want to stay in the warm covers and not get out and get to the gym. It is so important that you put into your routine doing something physical, because that is going to feed your energy. And if you want to compare this to someone in sports, think about Tom Brady, right? I'm not a fan of Tom Brady, and I'm sure a lot of you are not a fan of Tom Brady, right? But you got to respect the guy. This guy's the GOAT of the quarterback position, the greatest of all time. Have you read his book, TB12? You know, one of the things that I think is super interesting about top producers is they crave accountability and they measure everything about their life. This guy, Tom Brady, is measuring his water intake, coffee intake, what he's eating, how much he's sleeping, when he's going to the gym. Are you doing that? You want to be a top producer in this life. You want to grow your business to the next level, but you're not measuring, hey, am I getting to the gym? And what am I actually feeding my body? You're not taking care of yourself physically. This was such an important thing for me to learn. I actually, as I grew this business for Reminder Media, started suffering from migraines all the time. I actually found out I had sleep apnea. And even though I was successful in what people would look at, and I was making a lot of money and it looked like I was building a big company, man, I was suffering, and that was affecting how much I could go or what the altitude that I could achieve in my life, because I wasn't prioritizing my body. So my simple questions to you are, hey, what are you feeding your body? And have you thought about that? Hey, are you going to the gym? Are you exercising? You know, and then not only your body, your mindset. When your mindset of what you feed your mind. So think about this, when you put into your mind, right? And you come up against adversity. And when you come up, I mentioned last time on Monday Mindset, I had 17 people quit on me, right? Over a 2-week period. 17 of my team members quit. When you hit that type of adversity in your life, here's what's going to happen to you. What's going to happen to you is you're going to reach inside. You're going to reach inside to take out from the bank account you've been depositing in, to get some form of motivation, some form of to get over this adversity, to conquer what's in front of you. And if all you've been depositing in your mind, in that bank account, is things like, you know, keeping up with the Kardashians, Tiger King, things like just scrolling on TikTok aimlessly with no actual purpose, if all that is that you've been investing in the bank account, when you come up against adversity, you're not going to be able to motivate yourself to keep going. What are you feeding your mind today? Simple questions for you. What are you listening to? What are you watching? Who are you hanging around? We all know we're the sum of the 6 people that we hang around. Who are you hanging around? Who are you letting to influence you? Not only what are you listening to, why are you listening to that person? One of the most powerful things a mentor told me one time is he said, Luke, don't listen to what people say, watch what they do. And with the world of influencers out there right now, where everybody's on Instagram being an influencer, everybody's filming a podcast right now, everybody's putting out content, it's really hard to try to weave through what's real and what's not real. And I would challenge you, one of the best ways to figure out, hey, who you follow, is it real, not real? Don't just watch what they say. Actually watch what they do, what they implement in their own business. This is super powerful from a marketing standpoint. You're going to have all these marketing gurus out there teaching you to do different marketing stuff. What do they do for their own business? Right? So don't you think it's interesting if a marketing company is out there and they're preaching you to do marketing, but then you turn around and they're not doing it for their own business? What does that tell you? Think about that for your own mindset, right? When you're listening to people, make sure you're listening to people that have a proven track record, that have done what you want to do, that are where you want to be. Don't listen to people that don't have the life that you don't want. Right? You want to listen to people and learn from people that have the life you want so you can get to that place. But what are you feeding your mindset? Because when you hit that adversity, you're going to go to that bank account. And if all you've been depositing is trash, all you're going to get out is trash. So my challenge to you right now is, are you spending too much time on social media, on the bad side of social media, I call it, where you get into the algorithm and you find yourself an hour later have scrolled mindlessly? What books are you actually reading right now? What podcast are you listening to? You're all part of this group. What groups are you part of? And I talked about association, right? Of who you surround yourself with. We often talk about who you surround yourself with is who you become. But a lot of times people don't mention that you got to cut people out of your life. So right now in your life, there are probably people that should not be there. And it doesn't mean that you can't be nice to them. It doesn't mean that you can't still love them. but it doesn't mean that you should let them in to be the sum of the 6 people that you're going to become. And that's a really, really hard thing to execute on in your life and to actually move in, because it requires change and it requires hard conversations. It requires radical candor. It requires letting go. But it's one of the most important things you can do. And I mentioned you're the 3 pillars, right? What are you feeding your body? What are you feeding your mind? And then what are you feeding your spirit? I had the opportunity to go to a funeral this weekend. And it was actually one of my past HR directors from about 3 years ago had passed away. And he was a young guy, and he passed away at 53 from cancer. And, the funeral was really a celebration of his life. And this man had made such an impact. He was super involved in his church, and people sharing testimony of how he's mentored them and discipled them and the impact that he made on their life. And it got me reflecting in my own life of going, Luke, what's the purpose for your life? What's the impact you're trying to leave? What's the legacy that you want? How are you feeding your spirit? Now, I'm a person of faith. You might not be a person of faith, but I would challenge you that if you want to be extremely successful in your life, and if you want to have the greatest mindset, you've got to find a higher purpose than just yourself, a higher purpose than just making money, a higher purpose than just being successful, because the accolades fade, as everybody knows. And it's so funny in your life as you try to achieve. I've won the Inc. 5000 award like 4 years in a row, growing a company that's made the fastest 5,000 growing companies in America. Every time we've gotten it, it's kind of like, all right, on to the next. It's a fleeting thing. And you realize, wow, it's the journey that really mattered there. But my challenge to you is, you're a spiritual being, meaning there's higher purpose for your life. And what I would encourage you to think about is, if you want a life of significance, it comes from a life of service. I wrote this quote down from Rick Warren because I love it. Rick Warren wrote The Purpose-Driven Life. It's a great book if you're looking for a great book to read. But he said this, he said, what matters is not the duration of your life. What matters is the donation of your life. So it's not the duration of your life, it's the donation of your life. How are you taking what you're doing and giving back? And here's why I say that. Because a lot of times it's really hard to motivate ourselves to get the right mindset, because if we're just chasing things to feed our own self, right? It's easy to go, no, I'm not going to show up. But if you put yourself on a higher purpose, if you have a vision for your life, if you're feeding your spirit, then it becomes not just about you. And those times you don't want to get up, you don't want to make that phone call, you don't want to have that hard conversation, you don't want to show up and go the extra mile. A lot of times that motivation of knowing that you're doing it for a greater purpose, knowing that you're doing it for someone more than just yourself, is that spark you need to keep going. You are a body, mind, and spirit, man. I'm telling you guys right now, if there's something that's off in your life, I promise you, it's if you look to those 3 things, there's something that you're not feeding there. You're either not eating healthy, you're not sleeping right, you're not getting to the gym and exercising, you're not feeding your mind with things that actually lift you up, but you're feeding your mind with things that bring you down. And then you're not putting your life and feeding your spirit to where you're actually doing something that creates impact, that in the end motivates you, because you're living a life on purpose, not just a life for yourself. These are the 3 things when I sit down with my sales team and every new class that comes into our organization, I remind them of these 3 things. And I remind them at the end of the day, I can sit here and give you a rah-rah speech. I can sit here and try to pump you up and try to motivate you. But the real work actually is when you go into your own life and you apply in discipline, feeding these 3 areas of your life. And if you do that, every successful performer that I've ever gotten around, that is what they do. They focus heavily and they are disciplined in these 3 areas. So I'm going to wrap up with that. That is my Monday mindset for you today. That if you're feeling down and out, if you're feeling a little bit unmotivated, if you're feeling in a rut, or you're challenging yourself to get better, and I mentioned something today, maybe you're not exercising, that's the thing you got to implement. Maybe you're not listening and reading and doing the things you need to do to feed your mind. That is what you need to implement. Maybe you haven't even focused on the spiritual side where you're going, hey, what is my purpose? What impact am I trying to give? What is my life of significance? That is what you need to focus on. My takeaway for you today is pick one of those things, and commit to executing on those things. Remember, the difference between top producers and mediocre producers in every single business is top producers don't just listen, they take action. They might not be perfect. They might not know exactly what to do or how to do it, but they go and they put into action and they learn as they go. Go take action on that today. Let's crush it for our families. Let's crush it for our clients. Let's crush it for our team members, and let's crush it for ourselves this week. Appreciate you guys. Let's have a great day.